So the next tool on our toolbar is the image tool. And when we click on that, it's going to behave differently from the other tools we'll be using. Instead of telling us to click on the canvas to insert, it's going to open up our image library. And so here you're seeing a lot of images that we've already uploaded to our library, but you won't have any to start. And if you would like to add some, you can click to upload, and that'll open up a dialog where you can choose the file you would like to upload. But another resource to you is Proposify actually has access to Unsplash's photo library. And what Unsplash is a collection of photos that are free. There are no royalties attached to using them. You don't need to attribute anybody to use them. And so it's a whole bunch of high quality, really beautiful photos that you can use in your proposal completely free of charge. So we can open up that tab and search for something we'd like. And then we can scan through Unsplash's library. And if we find something we'd like to use, we can just click and drag it onto our canvas. And this will automatically add it to our own image library and then insert it on our proposal. Now that we've got the photo inside of our proposal, it's pretty easy to work with. We can click and drag to move it around. We can use the scale handles to change its size. We can look over at the image properties in the property panel, and we'll see a whole lot of the same options we saw with the text box. So we got width and height, corners, rotation, opacity, border, and padding. Additionally, we can link the image. So as your client is viewing your proposal, if they were to click on this image, you could take them to a certain website. And then at the very bottom of that properties panel, we actually have a way to open up Proposify's built-in image editor. And this is good if once you get an image into Proposify, you've realized, hey, there's a few tweaks that need to be made. We need to turn down the saturation maybe to make it black and white. Maybe we need to crop it a little. And to do that, we can click this to open up the crop tool. And then use this window to sort of decide what framing we would like instead. And hit the check to apply that. We can rotate it. We can reflect it. And we also have a selection of preset filters down here, sort of like maybe Instagram. And then once we've got the photo looking how we like it, we can just click update to confirm. And now we're back in the normal editor, and we can continue to move that around, scale it up, change the corners, change the opacity, and work with it just as a normal photo. Now, dragging photos onto the canvas is only really half the battle, because sometimes you want a photo to be embedded in amongst some text. And that is super easy to do, but to do that, we're going to have to scroll up here so we can get to some big text for a good example. So here's the end of our agreement section. And I'm just going to make a little bit of space above these lines here and place my cursor in this empty line I just added. And then as my cursor is there, I'm going to open up the image tool and put my mouse over that image that we were working with before and click Insert. And this is going to insert it into the middle of the text. And the advantage of this is if I were to go before it and continue to add text there, it's going to automatically shift down to reflow to match. And then if I were to delete text, it will shift up. As it's embedded here in text, if you click on it, you'll see that we have one more choice over here in the properties panel, and that is the alignment. And if we click that to turn it on, we can either force it to the left so the text wraps around it on the right, force it to the right so the text wraps around it on the left, or put it in the center, which is the default. Now, all that would be great and make Proposify's images super easy to work with, but there is actually one more feature that makes customizing proposals an absolute cinch. And for anybody who is using a template from our library or a template from Proposify's library, or even just has a template that they're going to be wanting to swap photos out from, this is an absolutely essential technique. So what we're going to do is we're going to click to select a photo that we've already placed inside of our template. And what we want to do is switch this out with another photo. And typically, In another software, this would mean deleting this photo, going back to the image tool and inserting it again and getting it back to the same size. And maybe we even want to like crop it or change the opacity. So we're going to have to reset that because it's a new photo. But Proposify actually has the ability to swap photos in and out in place. So while we have this selected, while we have the blue selection box around it, if we open up the image tool, now when we hover over an image, you'll see that instead of the insert button, we have a replace button. And if I were to click on this, it would replace the image I had selected with the one I chose. Now, of course, not all images are the same aspect ratio. If you'll remember, we cropped the one that we were using pretty severely, so this one is a little wider, but Proposify has done its best to fit our new image into that space. And if we need to make further adjustments to that, we can use the scale handles or the width and height properties. And that technique is actually usable for a whole lot of things, for background photos, for photos in the page, for logos, for icons. I would highly recommend mastering the photo swap because that's going to open a lot of doors for you while working with templates in Proposify.